Hello everyone, long time no see. Today we are going to be painting a single nail from an entire set of Cityscape themed nails. I know that I traditionally paint nature landscapes, so I thought this would be a fun little challenge. Right now, I'm just placing my sunset dots, starting from the lightest, going all the way up to the darkest. Don't worry about trying to cover the entire nail with the amount of paint plopped down. And then I like to kind of slap it back and forth to make the nice ombre effect. Like I said, it doesn't have to cover the whole nail, and the ombre doesn't have to be perfect. That cut was me curing. So now we can move on to the second layer of the sunset. I'm adding a little bit more paint than I did the first time. I don't want it to get too thick and start to peel off, so I try to keep the sunsets to 2 coats total. I really like this dark pinky purple color at the top there. Now I'm just going to be trying to make the transitions between the colors a little smoother. I got a little bit of paint on the underside, so I'll scoop that up. I'll wipe that off with a Q-tip before I cure. Making sure I get the sides. Another cure. Since I can still kind of see through the nail, I am going to add another layer because the ones that I've done so far seem to be fairly thin, so I'm not too worried about bulking it up. But I definitely want to be sure the color is nice and saturated. Now with that slapping motion again, I'm going to whip that paint back and forth, blending each color edge with the next. I like doing this part. I think most of my nails have a sunset just because I really like the way ombre looks and how fun it is to make it happen. There we go. After a nice long cure, to make sure that everything's real set, I like to put a clear coat on top of my sunset. Doesn't have to be super thick. Oh, there's my cat. Yes. It doesn't have to be super thick, but I like to have a little bit of a protective layer for my design in case I need to start wiping things off. I find that without the protective coat, that it tends to smudge into the paint. Right. Our first don't want to call them shadows because they're not shadows, but silhouetted. There we go. Our first silhouette is going to be going in. I'm trying to make it as straight as possible, but it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm making a power pole, and let's be honest, those see a lot of wear and tear. So if it's not perfect, it's just weathered. No, I'm veering off to the side here a little bit with my framing. I need to get a better tripod. You can see it in the frame even. Ooh. I do have to confess, a couple of times I pop out of frame. I'm hunched over my tripod and phone with my magnifying glass light next to all of that. So I do admit sometimes I fall out of frame. So now we have our little crossbar. We're putting down some little support beams. I admit I don't know the parts to a power pole. And now I'm trying to see if maybe I put my hand under here, I won't fall off screen. It's not that high or big of a tripod. Didn't like how the first little beam on that side looked, so I got rid of it. Perspective is hard, but you know, it doesn't have to be perfect. Most things in life don't have to be. Alright, another little cure, another little accidentally falling off the screen. Putting in my clouds now, in case any of my structures need to go in front of them. I want to be sure that I don't have to put the clouds in between black lines. So I put a little bit of paint down, and then I just kind of tap at it and push it around to make that kind of opaque, fluffy look. Had a couple little clouds just floating along. This doesn't need to be a lot of paint, it's just a little bit so you can get the essence, the feeling of a cloud up there. You don't want it to be too dark, or else it starts looking a little cartoony. And one more little cloud. Tap, 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 tap. Just kind of smoosh it around. Still just kind of moving the white paint around until I get a shape that I like. And sometimes removing a little paint in areas. To make it look wispier or more opaque. Alright. Now on to the other power pole. This one's shorter, so that I can try to make it look like it's further away. Trying to straighten it out a little bit without making it too thick. I got my face so close to it now, you can kind of tell. I felt like the bottom curved a little bit. It's kind of hard to get perfectly straight lines on a curved object. That's what I'm concentrating so hard on right now that I forgot to make sure I'm in frame properly. And now we're just making the other little beams that go on a power pole. I think they hold resistors or transformers, or I'm just saying words that I don't honestly know if that's where they go. But I know that's kind of what a power pole looks like. At least ones that I remember growing up. Concentrating so hard on these fine little lines. And I don't even know if you can see what I'm doing, even when it's on camera. Right underneath there where I'm painting now, I'm putting two little electrical wires, just kind of looped up. You can just barely see them. All right. We are going to be moving on to the little power lines here. They're very thin. I have a very little brush to do it with. I accidentally fell off camera while painting them. You can see very thin little power lines. Just little. That was me chastising my tripod. Now we've got some more power lines to do. Just gonna gently brush them on. They don't have to be perfectly straight. Maybe they're blowing in the wind. If you try to make them perfectly straight, you'll just go insane. Now I'm trying to decide on the perspective that I want for these power lines leading into my main one here. Thin little lines. Just the smallest amount of paint on the tip of my brush. Looking at the perspective, deciding I don't like parts of it. I was showing you how my brush has started to die on me. Right? Let's try to straighten this line out. Not straighten, but there was a bulgy part. Wiping it off again. They were a little too slack. Let's try again here. Alright. Now that it's all cured, we can move on. Some of the other fine details. That's right. That's right, Minnie. Minnie Moo. Really? You've got lots to say. Alright. I'm now moving on to painting some of the lower power lines. I know there was a large stretch of these kinds of older lines in the little town I grew up in, so it feels very nostalgic. Reminds me of driving with my friends to the beach, to the woods, just relaxing. Alright, and now we're gonna paint some bushes. If there are any lines you're not too proud of, this is a great way to kind of cover up those imperfections. Though it never has to be perfect. I do sometimes use this when I just don't seem to get something quite right. Just give it little taps, tippy taps, much like the clouds. With much more paint. Now I'm adding some little errant leaves. Try to make it look a bit more natural. Just little taps. Got some up high, like trees. Like we're looking through a break in the trees towards the sunset. So we can still see some of the leaves, but some of the color peeks through. So don't make it too saturated. Let's add some chubby little birdies. The little dot for the body. Then I'm just dragging up from the dot to make the little wings. Let's make him a little friend. Again, a little fat dot body. Going for a little bit of a different perspective here. So the first line was the tail, and then the two lines going up are the wings. Alright. Now that we got those birdies set, I want to start adding a little bit of highlight here. I'm just going to use a little bit of white that I mixed with a pink from the center of the sunset. I'm gently just going to tap it along power lines. Just giving it a little bit of highlight. If you find yourself accidentally adding too much paint, you can just wipe it right off. So I like to place my highlight line a little bit on top of the black and a little bit next to it. So I'm highlighting along that edge, and my brush is going to just straddle that edge line. Adding a little more highlight around these little pieces, trying to think how the sun is on the lower part of the nail, very tip. Oh, that was a lot of paint. In comes the mangy brush. Alright, let's try again. Oops. I have already recorded 4 nails. I promise I get better at not falling off of the screen as it goes on. Alright. So, I've added some highlights. Trying to get this to focus, goodness gracious. I've added some highlights to some of these areas. I realize that if the sun's from the bottom, maybe the highlight should be at the bottom and not and not at the top where the sun wouldn't really be hitting it. So that's all I'm really doing, is I'm moving the highlight from the top of the structure to the bottom. Fiddling around with trying to get it to focus while I paint. When you see me dabbing back there, I'm trying to offload some of the paint of my brush so that I'm just barely having a bead on the tip of my brush. Making sure there's a highlight on the little box, the little metal box. Gonna give it a little bit of an extra touch because it is metallic. I'm desperately trying to straighten that black line, but I keep knocking all of the paint off that I load. Darkening it all up a little bit. It'll really make the highlight pop more. There we go. Also, if you find that your little highlight marks are too thick, you can always cover it up with a little bit more of the black paint. That's the perk of doing a silhouette. Really, Minnie Mew? Yeah? You hear me talking, huh? I promise it's not on the phone. She hates when we talk on the phone here. It's like she thinks we're gonna sell her. Right. I feel like these little highlight marks really add a little bit of dimension to the nails instead of just being a flat black. Sorry, I have a stutter. Now I'm trying desperately to get the ring light glare to not be so glary. Just adding the highlight marks on the lower power lines. I don't know what I was trying to explain to you guys there. I was silly and already deleted the audio for this file. This is a voiceover. Right. Getting the highlight mark on the proper side here. I felt like it was covering too much of the black line, so I took it off. Let's try it again. It's the Perca gel. It's got incredible wiggle room. Concentrating so hard making sure those lines line up just right, that I didn't even notice that I'm just filming my thumb. What I'm doing right now is I'm taking the black again and going over my lines that I just had the white on, just to darken them back up a little without losing the highlight. You know, they're a little bit wonky, but nothing has to be perfect. They're going on my fingers, and as long as I'm happy, it doesn't matter. And you know what? Nothing in life is perfect anyway. Now once again fallen off camera because I am a professional. Concentrating much too hard on those little white lines just to make sure. Going back over the other little power lines now, being sure that the black is deep enough and that the pinkish white doesn't overwhelm. It needs to be a highlight, not the main story. I try to drag that bead along the path here. Making sure they don't get too thick, but also that you can see them. All right. Now to make the birdies area to land at, making sure these lines are clearly distinct from each other. Being careful not to blur the edges. Any little area I accidentally covered up too much, I'll add a little bit more. Anywhere that I mis-highlighted and had to erase, just a little bit more. These are metallic lines after all. Or I should say metal. I don't know what they're out of. They should be fairly reflective. This little metal control box at the bottom should be fairly reflective. So I'm going to give it a little extra love here with the highlight. Make sure that you can tell it's distinct from the light post. by highlighting the little corner over there, cleaning up anything that I feel is too heavy-handed. Making sure that white line isn't too thick or too bold. Last finishing little highlights on the power pole here. Pretty much every line needs a little bit of dress up. Making these slightly more defined to be sure that you can actually see them. Nothing too thick. Remember, you can always wipe it off and try again as many times as you need. Now that those are cured, we can add their little highlights. Saving so many. My goodness. Making sure the little metal electrical boxes are perceived as nice and shiny. And then my tripod fell over. Right. We're nearing the end here. I'm just adding some highlight to the birdies. Just a little. They're not they're not shiny or anything, but just a little something. Just to give them a little bit of dimension. And now we're gonna move on. Maybe we're not. This is a voiceover and I thought I knew what part it was. Oh, okay, I was right. So now we're gonna be moving on to painting one last little birdie. It's gonna be perched right on the power lines. You can kind of see me trying to make the body. Again, a little fat dot for the body. And then from that little chubby body, we're going to drag around until I get about a shape that I like. Decided I didn't like that at all. So we're gonna give it another shot. I don't want it shoved into that little corner there. I corner for it. A little bit farther out from the corner. Give it a little bit of its own form. Right. Now just drag that little chubby glob. Can you tell I like fat birds? They're just so cute. Third time's the charm. Like I said, you can wipe off and retry as many times as you need to until it feels right. Just dragging the tail, the head, out of the body there. Promise the 3 other videos I filmed, you don't fall out of screen so much. There we go. Our little birdie with its little birdie beak. Give it its little highlights. Again, nothing too intense. Its feathers, not reflective. Just a little taps here and there, checking on anything else that might need to be highlighted. Going for the tips of these leaves here, making sure not to cover them too much, just enough for like an aura effect. So I place a little bit of the paint down, and then I dab that paint out, moving it around, much like I did with the clouds, so that nothing is ever too heavy, but it's like a little halo of light. Whenever I'm in the forest and the sun starts to set, all the edges of the leaves start to get fuzzy with the soft light. It always reminds me of being in little dreams. Alright. These last little bits of highlight here are going to be what's left for this nail. I hope that you enjoyed watching the video. I hope that you enjoyed listening to the video if that's what you chose to do. And I'm grateful to anyone that's stuck it through with all of my falling off cameras and tripods collapsing. Well, it's only up from here, just like everything. It can only get better. This is number 1, and it's just gonna get better with time. Maybe a few of you will end up sticking around and seeing it through. Just adding little white dots to be the impression of stars starting to peek through. And then we'll add a top coat and give it all a good, intense cure to make sure everything's set. In the next video, I will be painting a Ferris wheel. I hope that you'll come and join me for the next nail. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it if you've decided to stick it through for all of this. Like, subscribe, comment, as the YouTubers say. And I hope you have a really beautiful night. I'll see you next time.